Hello friends, back out here on the Mockingbird. A few little things I wanted to tie up before we send this thing off to media blasting. Got a lot of metal work all finished, squared away. Everything's looking great. But a few little pieces you see hanging out there on the back of the car that need to be attended to before I think we send that off. And maybe something you don't know or wanted to know. So that's what we're going to get into here today. A few little finishing touches here in the trunk area before we get this thing out of here. And what I'm actually talking about here isn't anything out of the ordinary. We're going to do a spare tire hold down. My dad made a template out of the old trunk floor, which I thought was actually quite brilliant, but I'll show you how that's going to go together. Here's my new spare tire hold down, because that one was pretty scaly and falling apart. Now, these pieces here are 1969 Firebird only. I have the left and the right side here. They need to go back in the car. That's one of the things I'll show you later. I said that in one of the other videos. This is what we're going to get into today. And the other thing is right here. I love that word Pontiac right on the back side of these cars, and I want to duplicate where that goes. I'm not the best at using the tape measure and finding a relationship where it goes, so we're going to turn this thing into a template. That way I can lay this on the back side of this car here and get those holes drilled in position for our letters. Again, this is actually the AMD trunk tail panel. There is a company that makes them with the holes, but I don't remember which one it was. If you guys know, hit me up in the comments so I can make note of that. But I know somebody makes the tail panel with the letter stamped holes already in there, so you don't have to worry about drilling them. But that's okay. I know how to operate a drill, and I'm pretty smart. I think we can figure out how to make this work. But I'm going to make this where I can lay it over top of the tail panel, so I can't leave some of the panels on it. So I'm going to cut probably just right above this line here across here. Then I'll come up here just on the inside of the taillight so I can get left and right dialed in so I can lay it over top. Then I'll probably cut it just the same here, just on the other side of this line here. So I have a nice template that I can hopefully then just lay right on top of our tail panel here and drill a hole straight through. And just like that, our template is born. Now what I've got laid out here on the trunk floor, that is a number 42 drill bit, which is a smaller one, and then a number 24 drill bit. And those fit super snug in the correlating holes. You have the larger holes, and of course then you have your smaller indexing holes for the two letters here. So what I'll do now is just position this into place, clamp it, then literally just drill straight through this panel into the new tail panel. I can use the lock hole here to line it up. I also can line up then the dimple there for the tail light. And I know it's going to cut around here. It looks really good, so I'm going to call that, clamp that into place, and let's start drilling. Here's what she looks like, all clamped into place and ready to go. Lined up these three holes dead on, so I know at least I'm good and level this way, side to side. And even then, I also got this in additional alignment purposes. I kind of lay that thing right on top of the original panel there, so I'm liking the looks of that. So I say we're ready to go ahead and chuck up the drill bits and start punching some holes. All right, drill bit all chucked up in the drill. Now it's as simple as just basically going straight through our original tail panel into the new one, and that'll actually line up all the holes. And know it's going to look just like it did from the word go. The problem with making a paper template or trying to measure this out, I just don't know how accurate, how well I can do it. I'm not that best at geometry stuff and trying to transfer it to here. I feel this is almost, I hate saying the word idiot proof, but it's almost foolproof. You can really get a good template this way, and it was free. Just cut it out and you're ready to go. And I could probably save this for other cars. Okay, all the larger ones are done. Okay, now we're moving on to the smaller holes here. I only got two to punch out here. That's for the T and the I right here in the middle. So, same thing. Ooh, I might have to move my clamps. Oh. Might help if you chuck up the bit a little more gooder in here. There, that's better. That's gooder. Okay, let's see what that looks like. That looks really nice. And this is our final product now. This is, like I said, just imagine trying to lay out a piece of paper, none of these are in a straight line. None are the same height from top to bottom. So how would you know you're ever truly, on the same plane or correct? So it's almost idiot-proof or foolproof. Plus, odds are, you put your tail panel in, you got an old one somewhere. So I think that's a pretty easy little tip. I'm going to keep this thing around. This is kind of like gold now for me. But now let's move on to the next part of the project. Let's talk about the next part of the project. This is our spare tire hold down. Now you'll see these 4 holes drilled out. My dad made this panel out of the old trunk pan. Same thing, recycling pieces to make templates. There's no better way, I think, and it doesn't cost you a whole lot. But the one I'm looking at is if you have an original trunk floor, you'll find this pattern of 4 dimples in 3 to 4 different places. One right down here, a couple up there. And what that is for is on the assembly, when assembling these cars, it tells the guy where the heck to put the spare tire hold down, depending if you got a convertible because you got the bracing in the way, a coupe, a full-size spare, one of those compact or mini spares. So that kind of gives you, the guy assembling, a quick reference where to put the spare tire hold down. Well, that's fine, but the replacement floor pans do not have these 4 dimples anywhere. If that was the case, they should have some here on the floor there, some up there, some over here. It doesn't have them. So I still want to mount the spare tire hold down in the approximate factory location. So there's a quick little template my dad made up. So basically you can see the outline of the floor pan. It follows suit. Lined it up right here with the trunk pan, I guess the body plug hole right there. And lines up here with our lines right here. This one's pretty easy. Then we can then take a marker and transfer our mark where he drilled those holes on the floor and basically simulate our little dimples in our trunk floor to where we know, since we're the guy now assembling this, where the heck that thing goes. There's our little marks. So then I know this thing will then sit right about here, and then we can secure that to the floor. I'll do the same thing, put probably 4 plug welds right into that thing there, or maybe you should call it the plug welds like this here, right into that. So I'll go ahead and get my screws into place, mount that thing down. But that's a quick, easy way, put your spare tire back in. This is the one spot where it's at. I said if you had a coupe, it actually sits up there further depending on which spare tire configuration. So just a little FYI, part of finishing up the trunk. Weld that in permanently. Well, last but not least, let's talk about these little panels here and where they go in. Now, these guys right here, 1969 Firebird only. They don't even use these on Camaro, what I understood. This goes right inside the quarter panel down in here. But now, if you can see inside, there's already an installed brace on these quarter panels that I got. Well, those need to be removed. So I got a couple spot welds out here. I'll just punch them out with a little bit of a drill bit action here. Drill that little spot weld. That thing should fall right off. And then when we go to install this, same thing. I'll just go ahead and plug weld this to the quarter panel. And then across the bottom, all they did was just MIG weld it, laid a bead across this to the trunk drop off right down here. So first things first, let me get that thing out of the way. Ouch. Have I ever told you that I do not enjoy drilling out spot welds? Now, they do make proper bits to do this with and everything else, but I've never bought them. Actually, I did buy one time. It didn't work. So I don't mess with it. Here's that thing looks like that I popped off there. Not much of anything besides a reinforcement, so you're not just bolting to sheet metal that bumper. Gives us some rigidity. So if you don't have these, nothing wrong with these. Leave them on there. It's better than nothing. It keeps from damaging the quarter panel. It gives a little more structure. But since I have these, they cleaned up relatively well. Some minor pitting here at the bottom after media blasting and priming them, but they don't look too bad. I think they're definitely salvageable. Since I have them, we can install them. And the flip side here on a convertible, if you didn't have those panels on the other with a convertible, that cocktail shaker vibration damper sits right here. You really can't see them anyway. But like again, I have them. We can install them. Or if you had a coupe, I'd probably be more particular. I want to try to definitely get them installed in a coupe. But nonetheless, it's kind of interesting. The holes aren't spaced right. They really aren't quite on the same playing field here. Check out that hole there.
I know this is corrector fiber because it came off as this. Again, probably is more like Camaro. So if you did leave these panels on, you'd probably have to elongate the holes to get the bumper to work right, because you see that one hole just about gets about halfway covered up, whichever way you shift it. So I'm gonna put this thing into place. Same thing, clamp it. Use my probably the nut and bolt technique. We'll probably do this one, the holes, pull it up tight. Then we can actually re-plug weld here to the side, and then on the bottom, it just gets, once you place it into place here, tuck it up inside here, line up with the hole best you can, and the bottom here just gets welded right to the floor pan here. So pretty simple really for the most part, but if you got them, put them in there. I want to show you. That's one of the last bits of finishing up the installation of all of our sheet metal before we send this thing off to media blast. All right, here's what we have here. Welded in nice and solid, not going to go anywhere. I did also get this weld in, so just bead welded across the bottom, and then the front outside there, just 2 little spot welds, kind of like what I had that I drilled out. I did the same thing over there on that side. And the last piece of the junk in the trunk that I forgot to mention was here, your latch support here for the trunk latch. You just get a couple of spot welds or plug welds, you want to call them, right through here. And then just like the factory, just go ahead and MIG weld it right here to the floor, and it should be good to go. So that's going to cover all the stuff going on here in the trunk. Okay, so maybe not the most mind-blowing video I've ever done for you, but maybe something you didn't know or something you wanted to know, or make your life a little easier, especially when putting out the word Pontiac across the back of the car. I've tried to make that template out of paper before and never felt that I got it right. The letters didn't look 100% spot on. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. But this way, like I said, almost foolproof. And you probably have the stuff anyway. And of course, the trunk, the quarter panel bumper supports, those are kind of cool to have, but you cannot buy those reproduction anywhere that I have ever found. So again, if you can't get them, can't find them, not the end of the world. Leave those ones that are on there from the Camaro style and make them work. It'll probably be okay. It's better than nothing. Just me being kind of, hey, I've got the parts, let's use them, sharing it with you. Or if you didn't know they're supposed to be in there or should be in there, just kind of sharing the knowledge, I guess you could say. And that's 69 Firebird only Camaro, and 67, 68 Firebirds, they don't have that bracket going down to the floor pan. It just has a reinforcement plate. So, all right, I'm going to finish welding these things in here. Then we'll work on getting this thing on some kind of a body cart, get it out of here, get it media blasted, and get to working on getting the underside painted and working away, getting this thing back on the road. So, of course, plenty of more videos heading your way. Keep these questions coming. I've been answering quite a few of them for you guys. Definitely appreciate those, and definitely appreciate the comments on the videos. It keeps the YouTube algorithm happy and keeps guys coming back and sharing this knowledge to more people. And, of course, you guys sharing it with friends helps just the same. So, nonetheless, I want to get these things welded in, come up with a way to get this thing out of here, get it to the media blaster, and definitely get some video on that stuff. And I hope to see you guys then.